the grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the running man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others. But they're not like us. We need to get out of here now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This program is brought to you by Qatar Airways and Lay's, UEFA Champions League official partners.
Well, in 2006, Arsenal became the first London club to make it to the Champions League final, and now, 20 years later, they've just eliminated Atletico Madrid to reach it for just their second time in history, where they'll await the winner of PSG Bayern tomorrow, meaning the Gunners are now just 90 minutes away from an undefeated Champions League season in Budapest and the coveted Big Ears trophy that has eluded them so far. Welcome along, everybody, to the Champions Club presented by Heineken. So nice to have you with us. We're also live on YouTube, so make sure you send in your questions and comments and join us in the chat. I'm Poppy Miller, alongside Nigel Reo-Coker, Mike Grella and Troy Deeney.
Troy, did you get the memo?
I don't want to be involved.
You don't want to be involved? You just want to be involved, I feel like. Obviously, we didn't get... Troy and I were left out. Obviously, you two...
Oh, with us
texting each other to colour coordinate and everything, or what?
Yeah, we are matching today, Grell.
Yeah, she's borrowing one of my suits.
It's fashion. It's a little big.
Yeah, that's good.
It's not bad.
Yeah, next time we'll text you, Nige.
Yeah, thanks.
Sorry.
I'm just going to exit the group chat. I'm wanted.
Everyone's red today, though. Arsenal through. Troy, how are you feeling about what they did tonight?
You've got to give them credit. You have to give them credit. We were just talking there before, probably a bit of a disagreement. I think Nigel thought Declan Rice was best player on the pitch. I think we both agreed. I thought Gyökeres played his best game. I thought he was very, very good in terms of... Obviously, he had the chance in front of goal, which, Nigel, you think he should hit the target
Minimum, he should hit the target. Because I only look at the levels of clubs and quality, which you guys understand. You know what it's like. The different clubs you pay for, there's different expectations. Where Arsenal are now, trying to go, and the club that they look at themselves at, I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm just saying for a striker in that moment, your bread and butter, what you go in the training ground for every day and every minute, got to minimum hit the target.
Yeah,
but they've got there
I thought he was fantastic.
You've been away from the pitch for too long.
I have definitely not been away from the pitch for too long.
I thought the way he linked up, I thought the way he held the ball up, I thought the way he occupied that whole back line on his own, I thought he was fantastic. And again, we could argue about the qualities and this, that, the other, but in a game like that, when you just got to see it through, I thought he was excellent. So we've given him a lot of stick on this show, but in this moment, you have to say he was the best player. Before
Grella gets in, because obviously they have the same kind of agreement, I would just say the two things can be true. He says that they think that Gyökeres had the best game in an Arsenal shirt. His best game in an Arsenal shirt, which is true. That's fine. That's his best game for the standards that he set. But still, overall, for the game of that magnitude, Declan Rice, I thought, was sensational. Didn't put a foot wrong. I've said he's been the Rolls-Royce engine for this Arsenal side for the entirety of the season. And as much as other players have looked tired and had to come back in, we talk about Saka coming in this weekend against Fulham, looks re-energised, was the star boy for them to lift them up and become infectious to the team. Declan Rice's standards
Who's scored, by the way. What about just Arsenal in general, though, Grella, with the celebrations at the end? It felt like a massive moment, a huge sigh of relief for a lot of nervy fans today.
We read our mind with the outfits, but we also just read our mind now, because the thing I wanted to talk about was, you know why it's difficult to pick a man of the match? Because there probably wasn't really a man of the match. It was just another team performance where they were just organized and they lumbered through it and they got the job done, right? They didn't concede anything to Atletico Madrid. I think they ended up with 1 shot on target, maybe 2 at the end of the game if I missed it. But so that's what it really was. You could pick anyone out of the team and say, yeah, they were pretty good on the day. So for sure. And what it means to the fan base, and you could see they celebrated at the end like they won the tournament. But I think it's been a long time coming. It's a very organized team and a defensive team. And we know throughout the history of all sports, and especially football, organized teams, defensive sides win things. And so they're there with a big chance, I think, in the final, even though the quality gap is huge between Bayern Munich and PSG. The quality gap, make no mistake. Even if Arsenal lift the trophy, the quality gap is, we don't have a TV big enough. Your screen at home is not big enough to see the quality gap.
So what's a big chance then in a percentage?
But when you play defensive, you have a chance. When you're organized, you have a chance. When you're good on set piece, you have a chance. So for sure, they'll have a chance.
50-50?
No, not 60-40. 60-40? For whoever goes to the final.
Okay.
60-40, they're 40.
Okay, yeah. Well, it was just interesting because obviously they've got so much to worry about, Nige, right? With the Premier League. We saw no changes today from Mikel, from the team that played at the weekend. Obviously in the Premier League, they've still got to keep the pressure on, even though Manchester City dropped points. How much more important did that make today's win for you, especially considering Atletico Madrid were able to rotate and still couldn't get the job done?
Yeah, I think for me, Arsenal, I look at that Fulham game as vital. When you talk about the criticism that they've had before that, they had Newcastle at home where they could have easily drawn that game. They lost to Bournemouth. The energy that they showed against a decent Fulham side, a Fulham side that should have given them more of a run for their money, and they got that win in the manner that they did, in the sense of they looked like a lot more energy. They looked like they had a lot more energy. Starboy was back, Saka, making runs in behind, and he was a big difference maker. Trossard looked like the Trossard we saw at the start of the season. Lewis Skelly came into midfield and took the opportunity that was provided to him, did a great job against Fulham. It was a win that put a lot more confidence and belief in the Arsenal fans, and especially with the run to the Premier League. Because they had that, the Arsenal fans took that same energy into the game today, and obviously it was a no-brainer for a manager, and Troy would tell you when he's been in a situation like that as a manager, when a team plays that well, they've earned the right to start the next game. So I'm not surprised that they did, and they needed to win today. And I think all that confidence and that energy that they got from that Fulham win can be a momentum shifter for Arsenal, especially with Man City getting that last-minute draw against Everton. That is massive for them. But again, today now, you don't want it to be too much of a hangover of celebration, because they've got another tough game against West Ham in the run for the Premier League title also.
Here is just the remaining fixtures, like you said, at West Ham on Sunday. Then they've got Burnley, who are down, Crystal Palace, and then the winner in the Champions League final. I mean, is that, you never want to say an easy schedule, because every game in football, like you boys always say, is difficult, but it's a favourable one, at least in the Premier League.
Again, West Ham's the only difficult one. Palace will play potentially the Europa Cup final a few days, the Conference League final a few days before. After. Is it before? I thought it was before.
May 25th, I think it is.
It's after, so a few days after. So you're not playing your strongest team there. If you get to the final, you're going to rest up. Burnley have been terrible all season. Now they're done. They're going to be even worse. And then West Ham is the only one, because they are scrapping for their lives and potentially a hangover from this, you know, in a game where you have to be so high to come down. But I just think it's done. After the Man City game yesterday, I just thought, OK, this is Arsenal's year. And fair play to them. Fair play to them, because they've been the most consistent. Yes, we can pick holes in style of play and set piece and all these different things. They've been the most consistent throughout. They haven't lost in this competition. And I think for people saying that, you know, one of the comments earlier was lamb to the slaughter with whatever team they go up against, it's perfect for Arsenal. This is set up perfectly. PSG or Bayern, you have the ball, we sit in our shape, and we hit you on the counter-attack. It's exactly what they want.
They're not going to be favourites, helps them as well in the final.
Yeah.
There's a lot of debate, Grell, whether Arsenal fans want the Champions League or the Premier League. Obviously, both would be ideal, but which one is more important, do you think, to Arsenal?
Champions League is a no-brainer, because they've never been able to do it. So they would accomplish something in the history with all the great squads and players that have played for them. They would accomplish something that not even those greats at Arsenal have done. So obviously, that's the obvious one for me. And the Premier League is one of the best leagues in the world, obviously, and to win that after the best league in the world, we could say. and to do that after, especially last 2 seasons where they fell short and they put so much into it, you just think it's so hard to go again, like preseason again, and go back to the transfer window and go and try to get this right again, and to actually accomplish it is really admirable. If they're able to get both, it will be a historic season, rightfully so, and you got to give them all the credit, for sure. You can't come on here and say, oh, well, but they did it this way. Regardless, if they lift the trophy, we've always said they're going to be measured by not by how they play football, if they lift those trophies, that they can cross over the line.
Yeah.
Now they're getting really close. I think the Premier League is theirs. I think the final sets up for them in the way that the team that they're playing against is going to have a contrasting style. But we'll see. If they can get both, then it'll be a season that will be in history forever.
Which one do you think, Nige?
I mean, a lot of my friends who are Arsenal fans, for some, they want the Premier League. You know, the Premier League, domestic league titles are so big and they haven't won it in so long. I understand what Grell is saying, and I look at it for me as a club moving forward of where they see themselves as a football club. The Champions League is the one. You know, because they haven't won the Champions League ever, it will be history-defining for them, their first ever one. But I would still believe the Premier League is the one that they want the most.
Is one more prestigious than another?
The Champions League is like the Hollywood A-star.
But I just think the way Arsenal have been at over this course of time, just winning something.
Yeah,
just
anything.
Winning something changes everything. So
yeah, because Sam thinks you'll lose to West Ham this weekend and get smashed in the final. Bit of positivity.
Great positivity. But, I mean, listen, whichever one they win, if they go on to win either or, it's a fantastic season. It's a cherry on top. And you talk about progression, how long Mikel Arteta has been there, the development that he's shown with the club. And every year you've seen a team progressively get better and better and better. So for me, that is credit to the hierarchy for trusting in him.
Something, though, you're saying, or just as of
if they win, if they win, yes.
Yeah.
If they don't,
the lowest parameter, but you can say getting to the final is an improvement anyway. Right. They've been to 2 finals already.
Get into a Champions League.
It's an improvement, but I think where they're at now, it will be measured on what they win, not that they got there.
What about a note on Atletico Madrid? Obviously, we'll talk more about them later on, Grell, but were you disappointed that they didn't give more tonight in London?
Disappointed because you watch Champions League semi-final and you want to see a shot take more than one, a team take more than one shot on target. But in the reality of the situation, if you watch Atletico Madrid and you understand really what they are, I think they were punching way above their weight. I think they got everything out of that team that they could get. Yeah. I don't think they belong in a semi-final. I think they're 25 points back in their domestic league as well.
Liga,
and they didn't do anything particularly well. Like when you watch Atletico Madrid, back in the day, you would say, oh, well, defensively, this is going to be their dogs. There's going to be a really difficult game. And then we say, oh, well, now they attack better, right? But they don't really attack that well. And they don't, I mean, one shot on target in the Champions League semifinal. And they don't really defend that well. They only kept 1 clean sheet throughout the entire, every game in the Champions League. So I think they punched above their weight. And I think they gave everything they had. But they're no match for what Arsenal is.
He squeezed every bit of juice out of that team as they could. That's just reality. They played at their maximum today. Even with resting and changing the entire squad for their La Liga game before this second leg, that was the maximum he could get.
So it's not on him, it's on the team, you would say?
I disagree, but I know we got just a break. I could have a full... It's
a little bit on him in the sense of now, because I said to Troy off camera now, is this the point where you got to start questioning now, is Simeone still the man to lead Atletico forward? Because we can't keep saying it's a rebuild, it's a transition. We've been saying that for how many years now?
But you're saying he's squeezing the best out of his team.
Because of the players, because of recruitment and the players that they've got there. That's it. Like you can't say, and there's a reason why now Julian Alvarez is being linked with other top clubs, like to come away. Like, how are you going to build something successful and sustainable when every time you get a good quality player, you lose them? Griezmann's leaving. You don't have that kind of creativity
Troy, you
again.
Okay? Just a big yawn.
So I'll say something.
I'm listening.
No, you're not listening.
Troy just took a huge yawn in the middle of Nigel's sentence.
Literally said we're going to go to break 2 minutes ago.
Yes, we are. Yes, well done. All right, stay with us, everybody. This and loads more to come after the break. At least Atletico Madrid, 1 string to their bow as they made it the furthest of any Spanish side in the Champions League. But the Gunners have advanced at their expense. We're going to be back with more in just a second, everybody. Stay with us.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. But the entire nation is hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others. They're not like us. We need to get out of here now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad and my aunt.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money. What's the plan here?
Gonna blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
So it was 1-0 on the night, meaning the Gunners advanced to the Champions League final 2-1 on aggregate. Bukayo Saka joined the club when he was just 7 years old, and he was the hero tonight. Arsenal so desperately needed to put them through to their first Champions League final in 20 years. Here is the Arsenal star boy.
What a noise. What a moment for this team, for this club.
Hey, you're taking me away from the celebrations, man. It's so beautiful. You have to see what it means to us, what it means to the fans. Yeah, we're all so happy.
What pulled you through? They say about managing games, you take the lead. It's easier said than done sometimes to do that.
Yeah, it's easier said than done. You know, this game is a high-pressure game. It means a lot to both sides, and we managed to manage it well and take ourselves to the final, so we're happy.
And what about the atmosphere this crowd generated this evening?
Yeah, it started before the game, you know, when we were arriving on the coaches. I've never seen anything like it. And they pushed us and pushed us and pushed us, and they got this moment in the end, so we're celebrating it together.
Your 81st goal for Arsenal. Has there been a more special one?
Maybe. It's definitely up there.
Should be up there. Was there something as well about the goal itself, a mix of patience and positivity to your play, but the way it went over the top to Victor, and there you were?
Yeah, in those situations, I just try and stay alive, and, you know, sometimes it bounces for you, sometimes it doesn't, but you have to be there, and I was there, and it fell for me, and I got my goal, so glory to God, thank God, and we go to the final now.
Just sum it up in terms of this team, because you've been under a lot of pressure in recent weeks. You would have seen that as well happening from a distance. So do you feel you've come through a psychological barrier?
Yeah, well, there's no way you're going to come to this position and and not have pressure, you know. We're in the semi-finals, well, now in the final of the Champions League, let me correct myself, and we're fighting for the Premier League, so how can you not expect for people to talk about you and people to criticise you, you know? That's why we have to block it out, focus on getting the job done, and we did that, and yeah, another step forward.
Listen, the guy who was in Mikel Arteta's first ever team in 2019, you've been the match winner tonight.
Sorry, say that again.
You were in Mikel Arteta's first ever team, 2019 Boxing Day, so a fitting match winner.
Yeah, it's a beautiful story, and I hope it ends well in Budapest.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well, what can you say about that young man there? You talk about authentic and pure. And a player that, like was just said there, was in Mikel Arteta's first ever team for Arsenal, and now he has been the man. We call him Starboy, and he talks about today, Grella, the atmosphere and the fans and how they kind of gave him that 12th man belief. And that, for me, like I said, started from that win against Fulham in the Premier League, and he was another star performer with how he plays on that right-hand side, the energy, the old boy, the old Saka is back.
Yeah, and he gets his goal today, but it's like you say, it's his personality that lifts the group. He's got to be a leader. They need guys that want to lift the group, and when they see Saka playing well with a smile on his face, it lifts the whole group.
And that's a great point you make there, because he did play with a smile on his face, and that's what he did. That was what he used to do at the start of the season, and he brought that smile back, and he was very infectious. And now we're going to look at some of both these teams and what we saw happening in the game earlier on. What was quite interesting for me is when you look at Atletico Madrid's side, when they didn't have the ball, Simeone at times would go and make them into that kind of back five, and at times you'd see them drop like this in a defensive shape when they needed to be. This would be the Atletico Madrid side when Arsenal had the ball and they were under pressure. But then sometimes you'll pop out and they'll go into a bit more of a 4-4-2. But what I thought was quite interesting about the Arsenal side was when they tried to play, it was quite interesting in how they tried to bring the ball out. It's like they tried to encourage this Atletico Madrid side to press them. So Arsenal would have possession here, as you could see. Declan Rice will drop right in there to try and get the ball. Luis Skelly would either be on that side or this side here. And they'll try and encourage Atletico Madrid midfielders more so. They wanted them to try and press to see if they'll get caught up in there. And what would happen is that they would have their back four here. And what would happen is Saka would tuck right in here. And here you've got, obviously, the ball with Declan Rice. You've got there Gyökeres, Saka, Eze, and Trossard. So they'll go into there. And they'll try and encourage the Atletico Madrid side to really press, to get their two midfielders in there. But what they did is they kind of stayed a bit more disciplined, a bit more compact, to try and make it more difficult to win these second balls. They didn't go as much. And at times when if it did go into Luis Skelly, we saw once or twice when they did press him, he would lose the ball and it will cause some problems for the Arsenal side. But it was something that Manchester City did well to them when they tried to encourage. Bernardo Silva did the same thing when you go really in there as a midfielder, and they wanted to see what you would do, how you try and counter that. So it's quite interesting when Arsenal tried it, and they got all their three in there, tight alongside Gyökeres, and it would still create a bit of space for Ben White here to get out.
Yeah, I'm going to just talk about Arsenal and the way they scored their goal as well. But first, I want to talk about Atlético Madrid, so I'm just going to move these pieces back. This is how they lined up. Here, they lined up in a 4-4-2, right? And when they got the football, which was not very often, they played with two smaller guys. They played with Alvarez. Here, let's move Arsenal back out of the way. They play with Alvarez here and Griezmann, right? And this is the way they lined up, 4-4-2, Atlético Madrid. And what they tried to do when they got possession, well, out of possession, like Nigel said, Simeone would drop back here, and he was basically doing two jobs for them, right? And the reason why they wanted to play with five at the back is because it stops these areas here where Arsenal are very dangerous. And if you notice, Saka had a quiet game, Trossard had a quiet game. Good games, but they didn't really hurt them in those spaces because they've got one and cover and sliding over, right? And if the ball was switched, because of this back five across here, they can do the same thing. And these wide areas become clogged up. So that was something that they worked on out of possession, which they were okay. In possession, they moved back to this 4-4-2, right? Two center backs would split. And essentially what would happen, I'm not going to move them to this side so that it could be more clear on this side. But essentially what happened would be that these wingers here would come inside. Lookman came inside. Simeone would come inside, and they're trying to, by coming inside here as the midfielders, they're trying to leave these channels of space for these overlapping runs from Ruggeri on this side, and on this side, the other wing back here, right? And so this is how they try to attack. And when they had the small guys in Arsenal's end, they were trying to make combinations of play. Griezmann probably should have had a penalty. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then after that, they would stay these guys home. They put Sorloth in, and they tried to go longer. They tried to play lower passes, so drop these guys lower, play a couple small passes. Arsenal would press them. They tried to go long into Sorloth, but it didn't really work. Now, how the goal happens, and we'll talk a little bit about Arsenal's movement. I thought this was really interesting, too. Atleti's back 5 here, right? And then they moved to a 5-4-1. That's where they were, okay? And Arsenal, what they did when they had possession, to build on Nigel's point earlier, is, and again, I'm not going to move them over here so that you can see what we're trying to talk about. This is the football here, fine. What Arsenal was doing when they had possession is they want to get their danger men on the football, right? They want to get these guys in the football. Saka and Trossard, these are their most fundamental players. They are a team that plays with the wingers, right? And Saka, arguably their best player when he's on and when he's fit. So what they did was, opposite of Atletico Madrid, what they did was, instead of taking these guys inside so that these guys can use that channel, the fullbacks, they would take Calafiori, that was right here, and they would push him up into the midfield here. As these guys got dropped lower, Declan Rice and Lewis Skelly, like Nigel was mentioning, they would put Calafiori in the midfield here. And this would allow for guys from Atletico Madrid trying to account for these numbers in the midfield, would allow for Trossard to come here. And again, on the flip side, Ben White would come in here, and it would allow Saka to stay here. And what happens when this happens, as you can see, is the width that Arsenal is able to create. And the reason why they're trying to create width is to stretch this back line out, right? Because the more they stretch, these gaps become a little bit bigger. And as they did that, Gyökeres, the center forward for Arsenal here, was with a good pass and a well-timed run, was able to get in behind, even the 5-man back line, as these lines started to open up. And then they're able to get these guys crashing inside the box. Eze was in the box as well, and they're able to get these guys here. Now, lastly, my last point here is Arsenal, when they had the football, like we're saying. So Gyökeres is in the middle, Eze was up there with him, Saka was wide. You'll see wide here, the 2 center midfielders. These were the Calafiori and Ben White tucked in. They're center backs, right? Normally you see this, right? Normally you see this. You see a center forward being marked by 2 center backs, right? So, and then a lot of the time you see one in front, one behind, right? Just as a safety valve. What ends up happening here with Arsenal is they squeeze them so bad into their own end. So this is Saliba and Gabriel were all the way up the pitch, at times about 35, 40 yards from their own, from the opponent's edge. And so you can see what happens here. Look how much space is here. This is what kind of the beauty is with Arsenal is. They can deal with that, no problem. They've got the guys that are fast enough, strong enough, smart enough to understand what the spaces are, and they're good enough in possession to be able to squeeze. And as you can see here, all 22 players, well, not the other goalkeepers, so 21 players, were in the opponent's end, squeezing Atletico Madrid and not letting them out, which made it difficult, which is why Arsenal had high possession numbers, especially in the first half.
Just quickly to add to your point, Grella, what you make a great point as well. When we talk about the old Arsenal, of what they used to do is you'd have Saka as the player here. He gets the ball. Saka will be expected to take people on. And what people knew about Saka is they'll have to double up on him. You can't leave him one-on-one. And like what you say about the switch of play, which is quite interesting, is now we talk about football's a very simple game. Sometimes it's the players that make it complicated. Run without the ball. We saw Saka get an opportunity when he does a simple check, the ball gets played, the defender bites, he goes in. Now that whole picture will change. Defenders have to recover and get into better places, and Saka now can either put a ball across the front or in the back. And that's something that he did a lot, not just today, but also in the weekend against Fulham, where it's a simple go to the ball, play in behind. Back to you, Poppy Miller.
Very good stuff, boys. So Bukayo Saka, the hero today at the Emirates. That means Arsenal unbeaten in 14 Champions League matches. It's PSG or Bayern that await in Budapest. We'll look ahead to the final next.
start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. But the entire nation is hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others. But they're not like us. We need to get out of here now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Tell me, can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad in my camp.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money. What's the plan here?
Gonna blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Well, Bukayo Saka was just 4 years old the last time Arsenal made it to the Champions League final. Here they're going to be in it once again, the second time in their history. This is a look at the Champions League top goal scorers for them this season. It's Gabriel Martinelli that's at the top with 6 and 13. Gyökeres is behind him with 5. And then you've got a couple with 3, including Kai Havertz and Noni Madueke. So let's see, as we mentioned, we're live on YouTube, how many of you think that Arsenal will win 2 trophies this season with the poll? And how many of you think they'll win none? 14% of you going for nothing for the Gunners this season. 66% say 2 trophies. Though, how do you feel about those odds, Nige?
Interesting. They put themselves in great positions. I think for the Premier League, I still reserve my decision until this West Ham game now, with obviously this win today.
So which one would you have voted for?
I'll probably say that the Premier League for me is the one that mainly is definitely.
You don't want to make a decision until there's 2 games.
I think that, listen, I don't care. Champions League, right? And it goes to the conversation people say, right? Defense wins championships. Yeah. In a league form, definitely. In a long term of consistency, yes. One-off game, it's a different scenario. Yes, they're strong defensively, but you've got to look at the opposition they're going to face. 2 of the best teams in world football with the best attacking front threes in the world with quality. It's not 2 teams who rely maybe on one player. You're talking about multiple threats that they're going to face. And you can go with your same mindset of being defensively strong. They can have possession. But these 2 teams have possession with a purpose.
He's going to tell you in June.
It's a different game.
In June, he's going to tell you how many trophies.
He's going to tell me in the Champions League final. I think they might do it today.
Second half of the Champions League final, they'll tell you.
Okay.
But anyway. What would you
I agree with Nigel. I think they'll win the Premier League. They're the favourites to win the Premier League. Destiny back in their own hands now. They control their own destiny in the Champions League. They will come into the final as underdogs, regardless of who the other team is. So I see one.
And you agree, Troy, just the Premier League?
Yeah.
Because earlier on this season, you made your case for 0 trophies for Arsenal.
If you actually remember the whole conversation, I actually said 1.
Did you?
And then you pushed me to say why they couldn't. So that's why that came.
Okay.
So you're blaming other people again?
No, it's there. If you watch it, the difference between me and you is I know what I said. I don't just make stuff up.
I don't know who you're talking about. Who's he talking about? Definitely ain't talking about me.
But it was again, we're talking about the future. I think talking about today, it was another big box ticks, wasn't it? Handled the pressure, handled the occasion. There was so much more pressure on Arsenal than there was Atletico, in my opinion. I thought Atletico, as Nigel alluded to perfectly earlier, they've squeezed all of the juice out of that orange. Even if they got through this, the final would have been way too much. They'd have been embarrassed. I thought Arsenal handled it great, and they made some changes. So fair play to them. On a night like this, it's very difficult to critique Arsenal other than to say well done.
And now they've gone first as well, Nige. By the way, who do you think that they will rather face in the final tomorrow when they're watching on? Which way are they trying to lean?
I think they probably would want to face, I would probably say, Bayern Munich.
Would you?
I think they probably would want to face Bayern Munich again because they've got the confidence, obviously, beating them already earlier on and what was said in that game and how chippy and chirpy it was. And obviously, you've got Harry Kane, striker who used to be at Tottenham and everything. So I think they probably would want to face Bayern Munich. I think Bayern Munich, for me, still is the more questionable defence that would suit Arsenal for their attacking sets that they've got.
You see why I don't think that? Because they've won, it would make Arsenal favourites. Do you know what I mean? Because already this season they've beaten them.
I don't know. If they face Bayern Munich, would you really still say on what we've seen from Bayern Munich that Arsenal will go in as favourites just because of the previous result?
I think you would. They've beaten them and they're unbeaten this year. So why would they not be favourites in that situation? Do you get what I mean?
I see what you're saying from a fan perspective, but they will not go in as favourites. They will not. I'm telling you, they will not go into the Champions League as favourites to whoever wins.
This would be a Bayern Munich now with a Luis Diaz involved again.
But that game in the group stage. Take those games in the group stage and throw them out. Throw them out of your memory.
Well, the bookies right now have Arsenal as the favourites to win the Champions League, no matter who they face. So they
Where are those odds? Where can I bet that?
They're the odds-on favourite to win the Champions League at this point of the competition.
Yeah, he wants to go against the spread.
That makes sense because they're in the final.
Well, before.
The other two teams, we don't know which one are going to be in the final.
But even before, right, earlier this season, Arsenal were the favourites to win the Champions League.
I think you'd actually be hard-pressed to find a betting book right now that will give you who's going to lift the trophy while one team's in the final and the other two are not.
I think you could bet all season who's going to win.
Not like when it's staggered, though, because one team's not currently in the final. Maybe after tomorrow.
Okay.
Or show me the odds.
More than me.
Anyone who's watching, please gamble responsibly.
Apparently we legally can't show you, but that's what I'm hearing, that they are the favourites. Do you agree then, Grell? Who do you think they would rather face?
It's a toss-up. Toss-up. Both of the other teams on the other side are very similar, and they'll have a lot of the football, and they have unbelievable front three, unbelievable team, unbelievable organizations, the way they play. So no matter who they play against, it will be a very similar preparation for them.
And that is sit in, be defensively sound and try and hit them on the break?
It'll be what Arsenal have done all year. Sit in, be defensively solid, go into the wide areas, get crossed into the box and play for set pieces.
Play for their strengths from set pieces.
That's it. And it's not it comes across to most Arsenal fans like we're being derogatory and trying to talk them down, but that's what they are very, very good at. So why are they now all of a sudden going to try and outplay any of these teams? They've done it so far. It's been successful for them. Keep doing it. And that's what they will do.
I think that what he said, when they have the football, is how they're going to try to win the game, and that's what they've done all season. I think that they're a really difficult team to play against when you have the ball.
Yes.
I think they close space as well. Positionally, they're always organized. I think they're one of the most physical, fastest teams. The two center backs are incredible.
Yeah.
They win everything. Everything comes right back down. They're good in the air. I think if you have the football against them, it's a long night. You're not going to find a lot of moments. You're not going to find a lot of space. You might get one opportunity. You might get two opportunities, but that's it. They're very good defensively.
And just to that point, every single one of them not only knows their job well, they enjoy their job. So the two centre-backs love keeping clean sheets, love tackling. The goalkeeper loves to make saves. Declan Rice loves to run around. What are you smiling for?
I'm just laughing at you. Yeah, this problem.
It's true, though, isn't it?
I'm not disagreeing like this. You're right.
And the one thing that no one's talking about, you just said Luis Diaz coming back. Timber's probably going to be back. So they'll have their proper back line as well.
That's a big call, though, man. Like, he's been out for so you're going to put him straight in a Champions League final?
You're going to go into it with Ben White?
You're going to... Right about now, for players that are fit and have been playing the rhythm, that will be the... I don't think you can put Timber in now, with how long he's been out for.
Why would you, Troy?
That's wild.
I don't think you could.
Yes.
Even with not significant match fitness?
Yes, because he is the best player. You want your best players playing in the biggest games.
But they got so far with Ben White now, haven't they? So
well, when they've chopped and changed him and Mascara. Remember, Ben White got his backside handed to him. I had to realise what I was going to say then. His backside handed to him against Sporting, got dropped. They put Mascara in. He got his backside handed to him. He got dropped. So all they've been doing is keep changing the two.
I understand
Timber is the number one. Earlier on in the season, you was making the case he's the best right back in the Prem, I think, or
yes,
Europe?
I said, at the time, yes, he is. He's the best right back in the Premier League.
You need him in.
I'm not disputing the quality that he has, but now you get to a Champions League final, you talk about momentum, fitness, players out there. It's a big call that if he's fit and available, to put him in a Champions League final without playing games before.
Do you know the one thing that tilted in his favour? The Carabao final that we did, when he puts Kepa in over Raya.
Yeah,
so
100%.
You go with that one, you try to be loyal and all of that. This is about getting the job done.
No problem, getting the job done, but it's going to be a big call, because if it goes horribly wrong,
you still go back to these two.
You're going to get blamed.
No, but so you go back to these two, don't you? If he gets injured in the game, you take him off and you bring a Ben White, you bring a Mascara in.
But I think the difference with the Carabao Cup final was, yes, it was done out of loyalty, wasn't it, for Kepa? Whereas you could argue that he's going with fitness for
Carabao Cup. You're right. Carabao Cup was done where they did it that way. Most teams did that. The second goalkeeper will get a game, and that was done in a run.
By the way, it's
of
30th,
games.
May 30th.
I'm about to say, if you're worrying about fitness on your last game,
yeah.
he's got all of the time off plus pre-season to get fit. If anything bad happens, he will want to be fit because the World Cup's there as well.
Yeah.
So I guarantee you, Timber being 80% fit starts the game.
OK, anybody got Arsenal winning, having said all that in the final?
Wouldn't put my money on it, but I can make an argument as to why. I think we'd all say the same thing. We fancy the other teams, but defensively they'll be
I want to
good.
bet against you. with those funny odds you got. I want to bet against you.
Well, I've also
wouldn't
got
rule Arsenal out.
winning in my bracket.
I'll take Bayern plus 300.
You won't rule Arsenal out.
Put my house on it.
These odds. Troy, I'm hearing that YouTube's got a question for you. Should we have a look at it?
Go on.
Why is Troy sitting like that?
Because I've got a dodgy hip. So the answer to that is I have a hip surgery that's due that I'm waiting. So
OK.
There's the answer to that. And also, I was going to say something else that would have got me in trouble.
Calm down. Calm down.
As long as
you're on one right now.
Troy,
I'm always comfortable.
Matters.
I don't put my knee up there like certain people.
You got a problem? I'm trying to back you and help you out. Hey, let me put my knee up there just for you.
No,
how about
that? A bit higher last time.
You like that?
It was up here, wasn't
I've been running now. See, the hips are a lot more open.
The knee's blocking you. I can't hear you.
You can see it now. There you go.
OK,
sorry, dodgy hip. Sorry, guys.
After the break, we're going to hear from Mikel Arteta, by the way, boys, and loads more reaction coming your way from North London as the Gunners, they are through to the Champions League final for the first time in 2 decades.
Of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days, but the entire nation is hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back.
I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others. But they're not like us. We need to get out of here now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it? The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad and my aunt.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money. What's the plan here?
Gonna blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Well, Arsenal have reached the Champions League final for the first time since 2006, since they lost to Barcelona. It's, by the way, the longest period between a European Cup or Champions League final by a team in the competition since Atletico Madrid were in the final back in 2014, which was a 40-year gap. Here is Mikel Arteta after tonight's success.
Bukayo Saka, we said it yesterday, he was in your very first team when you were Arsenal manager, Boxing Day 2019. Was there, of all the guys, a more fitting match winner?
But it had to be someone very special, and he certainly is someone very special with me, for the boys, and for everybody attached to this club. So if you had to be someone scoring that goals, probably it had to be him.
That defeat at Manchester City when Declan Rice said it's not done yet feels like an awful long time ago.
It does, but that's the twists and turns of elite sport and football in particular, and you have to be at it because you never know what the next moment opportunity is going to bring to you.
So what have you changed then in terms of tweaks, and maybe that tactically the ball quickly forward to Gyökeres? Would that be fair to say? He's more involved. What have you done? Well, give yourself a bit of credit, maybe.
No, we're constantly trying to improve and evolve ourselves, and I'm very critical with myself as well. And I think obviously when certain players start to be involved and available, it makes such a difference.
What about Victor Gyökeres tonight?
Oh, he was immense, and you could see the reaction of the crowd every time he was holding the ball there. I mean, his work rate, what he's giving the team is just incredible.
And 30th clean sheet of the season. A lot is said about attack. We saw it last week, Paris Saint-Germain, Bayern Munich. What about this team's defence?
He's immense. I mean, you talk about Gyökeres, yeah. So he's the first one to set the tone, the rhythm, and the habits that he shows when we don't have it. And that's a team effort, and everybody deserves credit for that.
They say attack wins matches, but defence wins titles.
Let's go for it then.
Well done.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You boys just said 30 clean sheets. That says the story, right, of Arsenal's season. Also so impressive, Troy, that they've managed to keep that many this year.
Absolutely. We've gone off in different tangents there. Not just talking to a one-off game, which is absolutely fair, but for me, when you've got 30 clean sheets, that confidence that must give you going up against anybody, that you know the defensive unit you would feel that you can stop anybody at any given moment. So, yeah, huge. 30, as I said a little bit earlier before the break, every single one of them knows their job, but they also enjoy their job. That's the biggest part for me.
Well, I used to say that I remember then obviously you didn't like it because you didn't like the theatrics behind it when they celebrated. And my point was that for me is like, you've been a manager and a coach. Defenders, you want your defenders to defend. You want them to enjoy their job. That is your job and your responsibility. And you've played for Marco Silva. You said you love playing for him because he let you know your job in the team. That's one of the hardest things that some managers struggle to do with. But when you've got a team and just watching, you can see in reflection, like you said, Saliba and Gabriel, I love it because they love being defenders. They're not trying to be the modern game centre-back of, I want to get it, I want to play, I want to hit 6 yards. Their job is, I'm going to block, I'm going to be horrible, we're going to high-five each other because that motivates you to say, you're not going to score past us. That's what I love about that Arsenal side and what the culture that Mikel Arteta has built in that team defensively. And I think it's something you've got to admire because we moan now about how some of these goals are being scored, about how players can't defend and this and that. And when we see teams love defending, defenders love blocking and fighting and working for one another, I think that's something we've got to give a lot of credit to.
It's so true because even talking of stats, Grella, I mean, there was one there. Arsenal have only conceded 6 goals in the Champions League all season. Everybody's saying Bayern, PSG, but them two alone conceded 5 and 4 in the last leg by itself. So are we giving Arsenal enough credit to say how well defensively they've done this season?
Enough credit how good they are defensively?
Yeah, to get to the final and giving them enough chance, I suppose, in this one-off game.
I think they don't need credit from us. The season speaks for itself, what they've been able to accomplish in the Premier League, their defensive records. Now they're in the Champions League final, so it speaks for itself. The problem is they're going to come up against a different beast. You know, when I watch Arsenal play, and I watch them today in a lot of different phases, and today was no different than the other days, when they have the football and they're in possession, they had 74% possession in the first half today. Not very good. They were okay. Then I watched, okay, when they get quite deep and they win the ball, they're really good in offensive transition. Not really. Then I looked in different moments when they have the football, and I think, okay, they have the game changers playing at the top level right now. Not really. So what are they really good at? Speaks for itself. They're really good when they don't have the ball. They're really good defensively. And against PSG and Bayern, this is what we said all season, they're going to have to raise the level. They're not going to be able to play 2 legs like the legs they played against Sporting and the legs they played against Atlético Madrid and survive a one-off match with PSG and Bayern Munich. They're not going to be able to. If they play deep and they concede possession, which we all know is going to happen in this game, they have to have a punch going the other way. Because if they don't, they're not playing against Sporting, they're not playing against Atlético Madrid. They're playing against guys that are the most feared guys in the world, whether it's the front 3 of PSG, whether it's the front 3 of Bayern Munich. So where they pick up that line and how deep they allow themselves to get is going to be really critical in this game, and whether they can be good in attacking transition to try to get a goal on the counterattack. Because if they just invite pressure for 90 minutes against the quality of those 2 teams, they will lose, and they'll lose bad. Inter find out last year the same way. And by the way, yeah, Italian football, yeah, I get it. Inter quite old. No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It's easy to look at that game and say, oh, well, Inter quite old, and their Italian football is not great right now, so 5-0. No. PSG and Bayern Munich will beat a team 5-0 if they get too deep. And Inter got deep in that game, and they started to concede little spaces. So Arsenal have to be good in offensive transition, which they've been okay at in the final.
Does a one-off game help that or hinder that? Would it be better for Arsenal
90 minutes
to play
is a long time.
Legs or 1 leg?
90 minutes is a long time when Olise is going like around you and you're just trying to find them the whole time. It's a long time.
The thing is, we're not trying to say that Arsenal have no chance. Arsenal do have a chance, but I just think when you look at what you've seen from both sets of the ties, the attacking power that both PSG and Bayern Munich have is high level of quality attacking players, and they will cause this Arsenal team problems, regardless of how much credit we give to them defensively. You're not going to want to sit 90 minutes in that low block defending. With the movement that they have, the intricate play, the quality in that number 10 role, whoever they face, their fullbacks getting involved as well, it's going to be a long 90 minutes. And like Grella said, you have to show some counter-attacking situations. And also, when you get an opportunity, because Arsenal will get opportunities, you've got to be clinical. You have to take them, because you're not going to get a tremendous amount of opportunities against these teams. When they sent, who is it? They said that they compared the 2 ties about Bayern and PSG conceding. They're 2 teams going at it. They're 2 teams slugging and throwing, trying to knock each other out. So that's why that tie played out like that. They're not going to sit there and be defensive-minded. They're 2 teams willing to go and trust the foundation that they believe in and go at it, and that's why that game was so open. Playing Arsenal, it's going to be a different game, because Arsenal will not be as open or as aggressive whether it was Bayern
also
Munich
the
or
flip
PSG.
side to that, if we want to carry that conversation on, is if whoever, Bayern or PSG, score first, it takes Arsenal out of the rhythm that they are sitting low block. They have to. It's a one-off game. They have to go and chase that game. So, you know, some Arsenal fans would be saying that's what they've been calling for all year, is them to be more aggressive. So you never know. That final could play out to see what this Arsenal team really are, if they are to go
what
one.
can they do then, Troy? Can they park the bus and make it difficult and keep it scoreless
They could be
long?
smart, and they could hit on the counter-attack. The one thing you're going to have is Arsenal normally dominate in midfield. Their midfield of Zubimendi or even Lewis Skelly in this situation with Rice normally dominate on the ball. They keep the ball at one pace. If they play against PSG, that PSG midfield will be all over them and they will go over them like a rash. So how do they control it? I think it's a game where Martinelli will have to play with that outlet of the speed on that left-hand side.
100%.
But what game will he give you? If he gives you the best version, then yes, you'll have a chance. But also, again, Gyökeres has to give you a game like today, but also then score the chance that he gets. Because he may only get one. If at best he gets 3 chances in a game, he has to score in those moments.
Those are the margins, what Troy is talking about now. Those are the margins. They will be under pressure. They won't have the football, but you can't do it for 90 minutes. They're going to have to be good, like I said, going the other way. And Gyökeres might get one chance. There might be one chance in the game that's going to define the game, and that's Arsenal's chance to take the tie, to take the final.
Put it into perspective, is Atletico today. That Sorloth chance at the end, where he fluffs his lines, that was Atletico's one chance.
Also Simeone, when he took that touch and took it around the goal, tried to be too clever.
The extra touch.
That could have been a goal as well. But again, like you said, you talk about Arsenal defensively. You've got to talk about the quality they're going to face. Kvaratskhelia, if it's PSG. Doué, Dembele. And if it's Bayern Munich, you've got Luis Diaz. We know how impactful he is. Harry Kane, Olise. So this is like top level, the best in the world players right now, that defence will be actually challenged.
This comment says, didn't they see Arsenal versus Bayern this season? What are they talking about? But
clearly, it needs to turn it on earlier. We literally said the same thing earlier. Dope.
Clearly needs to watch the up-to-date games and what's been happening.
Viewers to join us.
I normally do, but if you've got to come in, actually listen, that'd be great.
I'm with Troy. Listen, if you're going to make a comment and make sense, because we ain't got a response to what comes out of my mouth.
With that as well.
Funny how these men are saying how they love this and they love that. The others, but about a week ago, the two men were slagging us off.
Because you deserved it.
Oh, Arsenal.
Put the camera on to me, real quick. Let's have a chat. What's his name? Pretending to care. Clearly you do care, you dope, first and foremost. Secondly, I have a son who's an Arsenal fan. I have a wife who's an Arsenal fan. You lot were hammering yourselves just as bad 2 weeks ago. So don't blame us. We just call it week after week as we see it. Anyway, type one more time. Ask your mum if you're allowed to use the Wi-Fi. Put it off and see you in a bit. Carry on.
Do you know also, Troy, it was quite funny? Where we saw the Arsenal fans at the end of the game where they should be celebrating, they're looking nervous like this, and then yet they got upset about it.
The Emirates at the Carabao Cup that we saw.
Oh, there was like mannequins in it after
It was a little quiet, and even Mikel knows it was quiet because how many times has he had to say in his press conference, bring the noise at the weekend?
Our job is to call it as we see it after every game, week after week, and unfortunately when people were saying how good Man City were, after yesterday people were saying how bad Man City are. It's part and parcel of the game. So if you don't like it, get back on your little keyboard, type away, off you pop to bed, because the rest of us have got real work to do. Thanks for watching, though.
Join us in the chat. Make sure you send in anything, especially directed at Troy. We welcome all the comments here. We'll be back with more.
I'll send you my email address as well. Put it in there.
Just a second. We're going to talk more about Atletico Madrid. The season in the Champions League might be over for them, but a couple of internationals have a big summer coming up in America for the World Cup, including Julian Alvarez. We'll talk him next.
You do.
Failure sucks. But if you never learn from failure, you'll never learn how to succeed. If I didn't have those times, I wouldn't be the player that I am today and work as hard as I do. And if you never take those risks, you never know what's going to happen.
Next Level is powered by Verizon.
At
the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. But the entire nation hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others, but they're not like us. We need to get out of here now. Open your eyes.
Paramount Plus has a mountain of movies. Wow. New movies. Timeless movies. Guys who are running out of time movies. So get in on the latest blockbusters.
Trust me.
And relive the moments that get you every time.
And that's all I have to say about that.
A mountain of movies, now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars! What a difference she has made!
The question is, can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount Plus.
I lost my dad and my aunt.
What aren't you telling me?
I'll never know what you've gone through, but I'm sure your dad will want you to be happy.
I will not lose the company that my husband started. I want success. Get it for me.
This business will bleed you dry.
Dad, I'm playing on the house's money now.
No, you're playing with the devil's money. What's the plan here?
Gotta blow!
Yeah, well, I'm just getting started.
Landman. All episodes now streaming only on Paramount Plus.
Welcome back, everybody. So here's a look at Julian Alvarez and his numbers in the competition this season. 15 appearances, 10 goals. Look at the XG, Nigel. I know you don't like XG as a number. That's pretty high, isn't it?
That's
over
phenomenal. 8. Phenomenal XG, Poppy. Unbelievable.
The spidey sensors for goals.
He's actually overperforming it, which would suggest that he's been lucky. If you look off the XG.
Yeah, I did. I was just about to say that before you rudely interrupted me, but it's okay.
37 days to go, by the way, until the World Cup, and we know that he's part of the Argentine national team as well. So although this campaign is over for them, this is the big one, isn't it? Because Argentina, the reigning World Cup winners. Grella, how do you see him fitting in this season with their plans and the stacked attack that they've got to offer?
Hopefully he's not playing against Gabriel and Saliba at any point. Because XG, I didn't see any. I mean, he was quiet today, right? Credit to Arsenal, he was quiet today. But yeah, he's an unbelievable talent, especially from dead ball situations outside the box. But he went real quiet today. I know he came into the game where he had a little niggle and he was not maybe 100%, but with the other players from Argentina around him, I'm sure he'll have opportunities and he'll have a good World Cup.
Here's the numbers with the names, of the players that are trying to go to the World Cup this summer, because they're expected to take 5 of these. Obviously, Leo Messi is a certain, right? Lautaro's in there, Inter just been crowned the champions of Italy. Tati Castellanos as well, Nige from West Ham, pushing for a place. You got it. What?
Why are you going to laugh and say his name like that? Can you believe that?
West Ham, I'm saying that.
Tati as well of Lazio. You covered him a lot,
It's true, but he doesn't play for Lazio anymore. He plays for your team.
Well, you know his quality then. You've watched him long enough to know.
Yeah, fighting relegation as well as a spot on Argentina.
Wow.
Who would you take going with Argentina? Obviously, you would say Julian Alvarez and Leo Messi are the two nailed on, right?
Yeah, probably Gonzalez as well at Atletico would probably be another one that goes. Tati, not too sure. He'll push it in there as well. And then they've got other players as well, like they've got Barco at Strasbourg who can play that kind of number 10 role or that out wide striker role. Almada's on the bench as well at Atletico as well. And he's another young one coming through. Scaloni has done very well in the evolution of the Argentine national side because there's a lot of young players who've got capped and he's bleeding them in. So
is it all still catering to Messi though? Do you think the way that they're all playing?
Scaloni doesn't pick the team. Messi picks the team.
Scaloni picks the team.
100%.
No, not for the national side. Not for the national side.
$1,000,000%.
No chance.
Who services him the best?
100,000,000%. Messi runs the show over there, not Scaloni.
I disagree. Scaloni, for me, has picked the team and evolved a lot, bringing in younger players and feeding this next generation of players. And Scaloni's not silly. He knows that eventually Messi will say, you know, hang up his boots or he's not playing anymore. You can't just be relying on him. You have to keep moving forward. Like anything in football, anyone who's a forward thinker in the game of football, as soon as you think you can stand still as a club, you're going to get overtaken. Like, you're going to go down the opposite way. You always have to keep moving forward and keep evolving.
But you would say this World Cup is very much catered to Messi still, right, Troy, in the position that he's in?
Absolutely, yeah. As long as one of the greatest footballers of all time is playing football, you give him an opportunity to win another World Cup. So I think this will be his last one. I think he'll be the last of the greats. Him and Ronaldo will be surprised if they play anything else after this in terms of international career. But I kind of agree with Grella. I understand what Nigel's saying in terms of the youth and players coming through, but I think Messi will be saying, I want this one. This player over here, he services my game 100%. Better. Maybe he does a bit more of the running, and you know he understands where he is. But I tend to agree with Grella on this one.
How did the team win the World Cup? Defend, run, work for each other, and give it to Messi. Messi will create something. That's how Argentina won.
Definitely not going to dispute that about the previous World Cup.
First time you've said that. Normally you say something about the referees.
And the refs. Small detail.
Messi in American football too much. Says one of the.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Is that Cos? That's Cos wrote that one. I don't know what that was.
Where do you think that Argentina rank, do you think, with the attacks that we've seen? Obviously, France is the big contender. You would say Argentina's got to be up there, though, with one of the best attacks in world football, right? With Messi alone? Or no?
It's a difficult one, though. Honestly, for me, I just think the French are head and shoulders above everyone else when it comes to attacking players and the quality that they have. You can't rule out the Spanish with Lamine as well and what the quality that he has and what he can do.
Would you put England over Argentina with Harry Kane?
Two different types of players. Harry Kane is the best striker in world football. Messi, yes, get goals, but the ability that he has to bring other players into play, the quality he has from dead ball, he's in a world of his own. Like, you don't see talent like Messi. Portugal got a decent attacking lineup as well. So I think that there's a few. But what I would say the most that I love about the Argentine side, watching them, is they're a pack of wolves. They play for each other. They are dogs of war. They are the most united team.
Are they dogs or wolves?
I said dogs of war.
You said they were a pack of wolves just before that.
They are a pack of wolves, yes. Okay. That's one way you can describe them. And they are dogs of war. Is that okay? Is that okay? Yes, anyway.
It's true, though, aren't they? It is true because...
They love and they fight for each other. I mean, like, we all mess around with each other as well as a group, but we do genuinely really like each other, and that same unity is what we've got.
Messi does not have the mindset to be what Grella describes. He goes shopping with his family to the grocery store.
That's probably probably from when he came to MLS.
Are these in English? Are these in English?
He was shopping in Miami in Publix. He went to Publix and he was shopping with his family.
Yes, so
he was. I remember that picture that came out. He was shopping in Publix.
Basically saying that he
doesn't get involved in that. He's not. He's very humble.
He's very humble. He's very humble. Did I say he's not humble? I don't know.
No, because you said he has the...
He picks the team.
I agree with you. He has a bigger say over the team, and they're trying to say his humbleness isn't that.
Listen, We're only here because one person picks the team, right there. I've seen people come and go over here just because she likes him or she doesn't like him. So it happens everywhere. Don't feel bad.
Name names. Name names.
You know when Bella feels like under the car, she just lashes out.
Is it true?
Anything that comes to mind, he
You
just
are
wants to say.
100% right, Poppy. I will back you on that.
Poppy picks the team.
It just happened that he looked at me, so he had to think of something crazy to say. We've got more of our team joining us after the break, everybody, so stay with us. Guillaume Balaguer and Peter Schmeichel are going to join us here on the Champions Club from London next.
At the start of every year, I find myself wondering again, constantly questioning life's mysteries. Could I make it in the UFC octagon?
When Jeff Probst asks survivors, ready?
Do they ever want to say no? Has Dexter ever considered meditation? Will Beth and Rip make it last on the new series Dutton Ranch? If not, Rip, call me. Stream new series and returning favorites, plus huge events. It's going to be the biggest year yet.
Welcome to the Running Man. The rules are simple. Survive 30 days. But the entire nation is hunting you down.
The grand prize, $1 billion.
Win this game. Change your family's life forever.
Hunt him down!
People will sell you out in a heartbeat.
What is happening?
Welcome to the Running Man.
I'm back. I'm really back.
Why am I here? I'm not dead, right?
Disruption on this campus will not be tolerated.
If I look crazy, it's because that's how I feel. I don't know how to live in two worlds.
There are others.